Hi, Sashi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation.
No. It's a pleasure always, yeah.
When I wanted to do a series of interviews with directors who made their debut in the last, say, 8, 9 years and with very different kind of films, I was very keen to have a conversation with you for varied reasons. Not only because of the kind of storytelling that was evident in your debut film, Goodachari, as well as Major, Sandeep Unnikrishnan's biopic. One of the things that stood out for me when I saw Goodachari was the fact that, say, a 5 crore film looked like as though it was like a 10 crore or even more.
Uh, Goodachari actually is a 15 crore film or an 18 crore film back then. If you give the script to any producer or any manager or any EP, any executive producer, if you tell them to evaluate, they'll come up with a number like 15 or 18.
Okay, that would have been their
That would have
estimate.
been the estimation, the budget. But even we knew that.
Okay.
We were in the business. Uh, but there is no choice. There's no money there.
Okay.
For us to make the film in a 5 crore budget was the only choice. So what we thought, what are the measures in bringing it down? What are the because both of us, are from the film school
Right.
in the US.
Okay.
So he's done at some point of time, and I've done at some point of time, and we met in India. So our terminology is very similar. Our approach is very similar of how we see the making of a film. What we make, the output might be very close to a Telugu cinema, but the approach, the making aspect is very independent, which is back in the US.
Okay.
So we want to bring that and want to make it in a very, no hierarchies, uh, no stereo budgets, expenditures where things go behind the camera. We want to keep everything only in front of the camera. Behind the camera, we are ready to sacrifice anything and everything.
Okay.
So whatever it is in front of the camera, we don't want to compromise. We want to keep them. So these measures were taken. I think it was quite hard to do that, but it was not so much of an effort because orientation is very clear.
When you say no hierarchy, do you mean in the kind of work that happens on the floors
Yeah.
between the different teams? Can you explain?
See, hierarchy, I mean, in a stereo Telugu set, you have a first AD and a second AD and a DOP and there is a caravan for the actors. I think we treated everyone equal. We're all, we considered everyone to, we never had chairs. We never had the luxury of sitting and eating lunch. It was all more like a buffet. So we want to, make things very hierarchy free.
Okay.
Everything is this. It's the same food for everyone. So there's no luxury of director getting some special food, the hero getting some special food. When we shot in Himachal Pradesh, all of us stayed in the same boarding place.
Okay.
It was like a 1,000 rupee room. So these are the kind of hierarchy free shooting that we try to bring in. I think that's where the budget is minimized.
I see. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you had something that you recalled even after making Major. Your father commented, isn't it? I thought now you guys are making a big budget film, but instead of staying in a 5-star hotel, or you all staying in our house.
Yeah.
So did you follow a similar method for Major as well? where
Major as
required?
well, yeah. I mean, we took a little liberty in Major because there's too much stretching in Goodachari. So
Right.
Major, we still adopted the theory of making like Goodachari, but Major had its own demands.
Okay.
Major demanded us certain setups. It's a war that we need to show in a 5-star hotel in Mumbai. So it requires certain close to reality things. You need a set. You need a set which looks like Taj.
Like the Taj
Like the
Palace.
palace. You need corridors like the Taj Palace. You need the rooms to look like. So that you can't squeeze in like Goodachari. So there is certain the budget also has, really gone up a little. So we utilize the entire budget in, making things like that. Again, the non-Taj episodes were more like Goodachari approach, where
Okay.
we minimized again. We didn't want, so, it's done in a subsidized manner. Yeah.
But it required about 7 sets in Ramoji
Yeah,
Film
seven
City.
to nine, chota mota sets, like the windows where the Shobita hanging thing. That's also a set. That's a smaller set. It's not like a set.
Okay.
But we need to set up the windows. Like smaller ones were also there. So all put together 8 to 9 setups, whatever you call. But the corridors, the sea lawns, they were quite extensive. They were like quite big. The grand staircase, they're all sets, proper sets.
Okay. When we talk about the writing aspect of Goodachari, there were a lot of surprises that keep coming to the viewer when you watch it, especially in the second hour or so.
Right.
There are twists and turns, and these are not twists and turns just thrown in for the sake of it, just to say that we are doing something different. These are something which go along with the flow of the spy action kind of a drama.
Right.
So at the writing stage, because it was a collaborative process between you and Adavishesh, I think he's one of the rare actors who's also a writer in Telugu cinema. How would you say this collaborative writing process works?
Before writing Goodachari, we've been friends, we talked cinema, bounced ideas. I know what his dream projects are. He knows what my dream stories, to tell. So there's a lot of commonality in us. So when the idea of making Goodachari came into the complete existence, we started bouncing ideas. He gave me his initial early draft of the story, which was like, I think
he was very young when he wrote, so that had to be
not even a teen, I guess, and or just a teen in the early days of his teen. When I read it, it was too outdated, and the story is done very early. If the current version of Goodachari, by interval the movie is done in that version. So there is no father angle at all in that. So we wanted to do something that that's today, and that has to be very contemporary for the viewers to experience. And we thought writing it just like that won't work. We put a lot of brainstorming, lot of fightings and quarrels. And then it needs to be very sleek, stylish, and the twists are supposed to be very organic within the story. They can't be like out of the blue. They're coming from nowhere. You can't have a twist like that. They're very much told in the beginning of the story. The seeds are planted, and then the payoffs come later in the form of twists. So that format has been there, and I think Abur Ravi Garu, I think he is a backbone in helping us when we were writing. For example, if you see the first training scene where Anish trains them about the directions, about the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, how they got to see and all. This was written by us, but paying off in the second half, where Madhushalini applies it for Sesh. So that is what he brought onto the table. So it's like that. It's very collaborative work.
No, but for some of the twists and turns which come, did you kind of sound off all these ideas to somebody else who's not involved in the writing process, just to see how they react to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do extensive focus groups. Even today I do that for all my scripts. When you feel it's a decent first draft, we call a set of target audience. Who most likely come to a film like this on a Friday. We call them, 3 or 4 of them. We narrate them the story and then take the feedback and sense if they are really feeling what you're feeling. If they're really feeling it a twist, or if they're like not so much involved into the script. There's certain gauging that happens there, and we try to also take the feedback where if a common feedback from 2 people, then yes, it is truly working, or it is truly not working. So we tend to do this.
You know, in an earlier interview, you had mentioned that writing and directing are two very different things. Not many filmmakers in Telugu will admit to it, because normally people like to say story, screenplay, dialogues, direction by one name, right? And you said you would rather collaborate with somebody.
Right.
How would you discuss this entire phenomenon, you know, as opposed to just saying story, screenplay, dialogues, direction? You be willing to get on a collaborative writing process with somebody else?
I think there are no hard and fast rules.
Okay.
I stick to my word of collaborative writing, and I still think that they are completely two different crafts, writing and direction. And there is nothing wrong if you write and direct.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong if you only direct.
Okay.
And if someone else writes, it's just art
So this
form.
works for you?
Yeah, I think it depends. Balu Mahendra garu, the famous Balu Mahendra, he edited, he cinematographed, he wrote, he directed as well, and he's made some amazing films. Nothing wrong in multitasking for a film, but I think I love direction. I'm meant to direct films. With audio-visual medium, I'm meant to tell stories. But writing is a craft where I personally feel it's a collaborative thing. When you sit with writers, the brainstorming, the discussions, I think they produce better stories.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the writing process of Major itself. You know, that is again also Advishesh wanted to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
He went and got the permission, and then you got on board
Right.
with a little bit of nudging that had to happen. But once you started writing it, the two of you, were there certain do's and don'ts that you wanted to have an approach with? Why I'm asking this is because biopics again is like the most frequented, one of the most frequented kind of a genre, if I may say so, in Indian cinema, right? I mean, the Hindi film industry has had so many biopics. So did you want to avoid a few repetitive cliches?
We first of all, while making Major, when I was on board, I was very clear and sure to myself and also to Sesh, because it's quite a second collaboration, and so there's certain expectation from the audience from both of us.
Yeah.
So I was very clear that it is a biopic, it is a story about Sandeep and Unnikrishnan, and also in the Telugu. From the Telugu audience, there is expectation. So in the very early days of Major's first draft, what we had, when we started narrating, people were, I understood that audience are coming with a certain notion of the interval is going to be like this, or the action is going to be certain way. And we wanted to make a very natural, very unnecessary stylized version at all.
Okay.
But when we heard the feedback, they felt that they wanted something like Goodachari.
Okay.
Their expectation is something a little like Goodachari and all. So we can't be completely Goodachari, we can't be completely Major. So there's some hybrid approach that we got into it. And so the fiction in between of what, see, we don't know now. None of us know what really happened completely in the palace back then. Yeah. So there is certain fiction, there's a certain space for fiction in the writing and in the making later. So that fiction we wanted to, that action, whatever we have designed, it's not like a very normal pattern. It is quite stylized. It is quite energy soldiers are quite good at combat.
Yeah.
So we want to make it very sleek.
Okay.
If you see the interval also, when Sandeep, when the energies come to Taj, the dome was already burning.
Yeah.
But what we did is we brought it to the edge. When they come, they just blow the dome with the granites.
Bit of drama.
Little bit of drama, little bit of. So interval, you need a little, a bang-like thing.
Okay.
So these are the little changes that we have done, but the soul of Sandeep was retained intact. We didn't want to disturb that. That is very true.
Sacrosanct.
Yeah. Okay. Everywhere you see Sandeep, we want to really keep Sandeep. But the style, the action, screenplay, was little altered.
Okay. Now, with both Goodachari as well as Major, both are essentially a story where the male protagonist is in the focus. And I remember you saying that in for Goodachari, you felt that you couldn't tap Shobita's potential to the fullest. There was very little scope for that in that kind of a story.
Right.
And in Major, of course, the role which she has done is inspired by a hostage who's like a male, right? You change the gender for it.
Yeah.
Did that come about because you felt that otherwise there are too many men in the story, let's bring a woman? Or is it also because of an emotional reason, saying if it's a young mother who's separated from, who's on a business
family,
tour,
right.
and then she finds another, a child over there and she tries to help, there'll be a little more connect with the audience. So what was the thought process?
See, the thought process was very clear there. Right from day one, we wanted Pramoda, not Pramod.
Okay.
Because the real person, almost the whole 80% of the drama was really happened back then. But saving the girl part didn't happen here. It happened in Nariman house with another nanny.
Okay.
So we integrated both the stories. So when we decided to integrate two stories, we always felt women will justify the saving the girl part of the story. And if you see, she's the hero in that track. It's a separate track.
Yeah.
Generally, you tend to go to a film with a uni-perspective. Your protagonist is leading. He discovers something, you discover something. The audience discovers something. But Major, if you see, it's Sandeep's story. But if you go to Shobita's story, there's nothing Sandeep is knowing about Shobita. It's a different track completely. It's completely the hostage side of the story. If you don't tell that, there's no climax to the film, because you don't have the empathy for the character who is stuck in the palace. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this kind of a writing choice and the thoughts that go into it, how much of it would you attribute to what you learned at the New York Film Academy?
See, Film Academy, I think Film Academy helped a lot. I mean, I didn't know anything about cinematography. Cinematography is an area that I never got to know when I got into films. So that area, you need to take cycles in the film, in the film school.
Okay.
Where you're formed into groups. You're a director a day, and another day you're a cinematographer, another day you're a gaffer, and another day you're an editor. So you need to play multiple roles. So in the process of playing multiple roles, when you take your turn where your weakness is, that's where you pick up, you make your weakness your strength. So in that sense, film school helped us a lot. So today, that area where I was weak, that it helped a lot when you're on a real set. And writing also, writing is a different game.
What did you specialize in over there?
Direction.
Okay.
Yeah, and writing was a special class that I took, because I always, like I told, I always feel principal writer of a film, but I place myself as a co-writer in a film. So back then, when I've gone to the New York Film Academy, my writing ability was always, I was not sure of what writing is. I was not sure of how to construct a story that you have in you. So I think the film school helped me get that orientation. And in fact, they don't leave you unless you're done with your complete script. So I've written my script, and then you graduate. So when you have your script, there is a certain confidence that you get. Oh, okay, now you have a bounded script. Not bad. Now you have the ability of writing a script. So I think that confidence helped. But still, however, it is a very safe zone the film school keeps you. It's okay to do mistakes, but on a film set, it's not okay to do mistakes.
Practical learning happens on the sets and when you're into your career. This was in 2008, isn't it?
Yeah.
When did this interest in cinema come about? Do you remember?
The instinct of telling stories, you gather people, you gather your friends, you gather your family, and you keep telling stories. So you don't know that it is storytelling. This has been there from childhood.
Okay.
Knowing, I mean, when people say that this is called storytelling and this is how you tell stories visually, using cameras, using audio equipment, this came a little later.
Okay. Okay.
And then, some people, some, peers and well-wishers who are well-versed with the craft started telling that I think you should consider direction.
Okay.
Because you're a natural storyteller. I think you should get into filmmaking. And then, okay, this is what we are good at now. I think we need to learn the craft even. So it's somewhere 2006, 2005, 2006 where I started realizing that and started, getting into films and film school. And then, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood and the background, and what did you study, and when did you say, okay, let me go, get into New York Film Academy?
I did my MBA. My childhood, it was completely from Hyderabad to Chennai to Bangalore. I've traveled all around, and films always were a part of me.
Okay.
Wherever I go, watching films was the first ever thing that I need to do. I don't see where I live. I see what's, cinema halls are around. So
you were exposed to different language cinema.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I lived in Chennai when I was a kid, my father, mother, they've always weekends we used to go to films. Even in Hyderabad, RTC Crossroads, we used to go. We would watch films, whatnot. I mean, like my father used to take me to Sangeetha, Skyline for English films. Yeah, and it's and Hindi also. We go to Sapna Habits for Hindi. So it's in Tamil. When we were in Chennai, I got exposed to Tamil cinema also. And Bangalore, it's all, you have Malayalam cinema there, you have Tamil cinema. So it's I'm living everywhere and watching all these films, and then going to film school. It's sort of completely films all around my life.
It shaped you.
Yeah, they all shaped me in whatever I am. The interesting part is when I was in school, when I was in my high school in Hyderabad, St. Joseph's, I used to call my friends during the lunch break and tell them the story on a Monday afternoon. I used to tell the story that I've seen on Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
And these friends of mine, they used to go watch the film, come back and tell me that your narration is better than the film. So it's sort of,
so it just
got into the DNA.
Okay. After New York Film Academy and all, when you returned to India, you assisted Shekhar Kamula for Leader, isn't it? What did you absorb on his sets? Were there certain takeaways that you can still remember?
Yeah. See, Shekhar Garu is a very pleasant human being. There's no first AD, second AD concept there. Because he is also from a film school. The indie nature has always been there.
Okay.
The way he made Anand back then.
Yeah.
The way he made Happy Days.
Yeah.
A very indie in culture. But aesthetically, they look really good. You have the story there. You have the drama there. Creatively, you don't have to work with the director. You watch his films, you'll know. But on a set, it's a complete full form of a set that I've worked, the environment. I've never worked on a complete film before Leader.
Okay.
So you know the set politics, you know the hierarchies, who is doing what. So the way he delegates the work, the way he divides the work for the team, I think that is something that I took from him. He knows who should do what. The assignment that he gives to the respective assistant directors or the other department, it's fantastic. I think that is what I took from him.
Okay. Now, after assisting him in Leader and before Goodachari came out in 2018, right? What happened in the intermittent years? Were you pitching stories to different people, or were there other projects that you were working on?
Soon after Leader, I always wanted to tell my story.
Okay.
I want to start my film. I have my script in place, and I started pitching to a lot of producers, but it never got materialized. And in the process, Sesh, after or a little during leader or after leader, we met for the first time. He made a film called Karma. He came from the US.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was my neighbor. He was talking about how to promote his film. I'm just done with the promoting. I mean, I helped Shekhar Garu promote Leader.
Okay.
After the movie is done, after the shooting is done, during the post production, he assigns one assistant director to take care of the PR. I was the one there.
I see.
So I'm just done. I'm quite familiar with all the PR people in the market. So I helped Sesh do that
For
film,
Karma.
yeah,
Okay,
promoting Karma.
okay.
And that's how we bonded. And a little later, I was going on pitching and on and off. He's got his own journey. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
somewhere in 2015, we again met. And then we started bouncing ideas where, you know, between 11 and 15, nothing worked for us.
Okay.
For Sesh or I.
If we talk about your journey 2011 to 2015, is it because the producers were
Yeah.
not on, I mean, they were not convinced about
No,
the
no.
stories?
Actually,
or,
they okayed the project. You know, we had an office. There was pre-production. We were about to shoot, and again, there were issues with the producers not able to,
Okay,
you know, fund the film. A lot of. I mean, any director would have all that drama before his first film or first film. Similarly, I too had all that, and then 15 is when again it started progressing.
Okay.
When we both met again. It was not Goodachari. It was some other script that we were working on. And Shanam released in
Shanam
16.
released, yeah.
And he, you know, the suffocation is little away because of Shanam. Shanam did well.
Yeah.
And then people started.
That opened up a new window, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the new stories are quite welcomed. And then we wanted to pitch the story that we were writing, but the producers felt Goodachari is more appealing.
Okay.
Started working on Goodachari.
You're not going to be a part of G2 in terms of directing it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
not directing it,
yeah.
but I'm there. I'm not there. Because my first AD Vinay, and he was also the editor on Major.
Okay.
So he's like my younger brother. I'm kind of like, you know, with him, and also Sesh being there. So we sort of, I know the story. I keep giving my, you know, my thoughts and my feedback. So maybe, you know, the franchisee keeps going on after after G2 also. Maybe later I'll direct somewhere.
At this moment, can you tell us what you're working on in terms of, I know it's too early to make an announcement, but
Right.
like what kind of a story or, you know?
I'm working on a script which is very close to my heart, which is completely me. And I'm sure I'm going to announce it, and it's going to be really a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really excited about what I'm working on. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, is it going to be a romance drama?
It is going to be a drama. It's going to be a drama with a bit of action also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, how do you look at you know, the changes that have been happening in the Telugu film industry over the last few years? In the post Bahubali phase, everybody started using the term pan India.
Right.
I know a lot of people don't even like to use that term. They would rather say it's a nationwide release,
Right.
or like a multilingual release, and so on and so
Right.
forth.
Yeah.
Goodachari, if you take a look at it, it was a Telugu film,
Right.
but during the lockdowns and all, it got widely viewed with the Hindi subtitles and the dubbed versions.
Dubbed version. Yeah.
That now G2 has become like one much more bigger entity, and it's going to be made in multiple languages.
Right.
Major, of course, because of Sandeep Unnikrishnan's story, it had to be made in both Hindi and Telugu, and then because of his family roots, you also dubbed it in Malayalam, isn't it? Where do you see this kind of trend of wanting to capture the entire nation going?
I think it's been there. Just the
terms
pan
are
India has just started, making rounds. I think it has always been there. If you see Roja, if you see Bombay, if you see Indian Shankar's
movies.
Indian, I think they were all they were released in Hindi. They was released in the entire South. Just the term has come into existence, And I think when you have a story that is appealing universally, I think it'll tend to go.
Okay.
Now, because of what Bahubali is done, because of what RRR is done, I think when you have a story that is universal, the path is there. The
Right.
path is, is more clear now.
Okay.
Earlier it was little unclear, but now it is clear. And I don't really feel that every film should be
A big
universal
yeah,
and
yeah.
appealing everywhere. Somewhere I feel some regional stories are meant to be told in for that region. Suppose if you see Janjala Garu's film, I don't think they can go national,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
very Telugu, they're very rooted.
Very rooted in the culture.
Yeah, I don't think you should force that kind of stories everywhere.
Okay.
But whereas a major like story, I think it should be told. If you don't tell this story everywhere, then it's a mistake.
Okay.
So you need to be smart and clear of what story you're telling. If it is really worth telling to everyone, tell it to everyone.
Okay. Okay.
This is my philosophy, I think.
Okay. And I'm sure that post Goodachari and now post Major, a lot of production houses would have approached you saying that, why don't you do this kind of a project for us, with this hero, etc., etc., and all that. So, how does a director navigate that space and say, no, this is the kind of cinema that I want to do? Only when everything aligns with what is, the kind of cinema that I'm looking at, I'll take it up, or I'll just say no. How has your experience been?
See, frankly, for me, so far it's not like that. Luckily, I was never forced to, get a casting or a producer. This kind of the market equations that you draw before actually wanting to tell a story. I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I believe in content first. You need to concentrate on your content. And I think content is your driving force. It tells you what actor the movie wants, what kind of technicians the story wants. I think it should dictate the whole process. It's not the actor or the producer or the director.
Okay.
I think it's the content. It's the story that I think I'm following that.
Okay.
And that is telling me what to do.
Okay.
Even now, the story that I'm writing, it's too early to tell, but whatever the story tells, now get this actor, he suits or she suits. I think we should listen to the story and follow what the story says. Yeah.
So, which means that you also have decided that it's not like a race where you want to make certain number of films in certain number of years and all that.
Absolutely. And I just want to follow my heart. I want to, you should feel like telling the story. Okay. No matter what, now you should have the excitement from inside to tell the story. Then you should tell a story. It's not like, oh, now it's been a while, now let me make a film. It's not like that. I don't think that works.
Okay, okay.
It's something movies are very personal. I don't think, it is a profession, but telling a story is very personal. The process is, it is very within. Yeah.
That's nice to hear. Really looking forward to what you'll be, narrating as a story or directing in the future, because I think there's going to be a lot more scope and potential, and that'll come out in the next few years.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Sashi. Thanks for joining me again.